Yes, you read that title correctly. Stop. Take your finger off of the add to cart button on the iPad Pro on Amazon because you're about to make a huge mistake, so let me explain why. As most of you know, there have been a lot of leaks and rumors over the past months about Apple working on their next iPad Pro refresh. Way back in June, the very reliable leaker Love to Dream claimed that a revamped mini LED display and 5G connectivity are coming to the iPad Pro sometime in the first half of 2021. These are both very huge features, especially the display, since it's been mostly unchanged for years, using basically the same LCD panel technology since I can remember. So a switch to mini LED is going to be amazing. And of course, 5G is going to be a really big deal for those who want to turn their iPad into a mobile workstation no matter where they are. And ever since that tweet from Love to Dream, we've been seeing more and more leaks and rumors pointing to it releasing at Apple's annual March event. A couple of months back, someone asked Jon Prosser when the next iPad Pro will be released, and he said March. And then we also got some leaked CAD files of the iPad Pro's final design, pointed to being very close to its official release date. And by the way, these include an 11-inch size model as well, which confirms that we'll be getting both an 11 and 12.9-inch iPad Pro, contrary to my previous thoughts that Apple could potentially discontinue it. Now, the reason that I thought that is because there were a lot of leaks and rumors back then that mentioned only the 12.9-inch model, which is really weird. But now it's making a bit more sense, with rumors pointing to the mini LED display exclusively going to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro model, while the 11-inch sticks with LCD. Now moving on, we've been getting a lot of rumors surrounding the date of Apple's March event. Like when just a couple of weeks ago, Kong, the most reliable Apple leaker out there, said that the Apple event will be hosted on March 23rd. Jon Prosser then agreed with that date, also adding in a few Apple products that he expects to get released at the event, namely the AirTags, iPad Pro, AirPods, and the Apple TV. Now here is where it gets really weird. In previous years, Apple always sent out invitations for their March events quite a bit early. Like in 2019, they sent it out 14 days before the event. In 2018, they sent it out 11 days earlier. In 2016, 11 days earlier again. And as for WWDC, last year the invitation was sent out 7 days earlier. In 2019, 12 days. In 2018, 13 days. And as for their iPhone event, invitations were always sent out at least a full week before the actual event took place. The point that I'm trying to make is that Apple has never announced an event, digital or non-digital, less than a week before the actual event. So if Apple was hosting a March event on the 23rd, which is a Tuesday, the most common day for Apple events, then they would have sent out the invitations yesterday morning, but they didn't. So yeah guys, no Apple event this month, and because of that, Jon Prosser has to shave his eyebrows because he said he was 100% sure it would happen, and if it didn't, he would shave them. And now he's saying that it's gonna happen in April. So I guess Apple had some sort of delay that came out at the last minute, since it shows that Kong also got it wrong. But despite that, you should still definitely wait to buy an iPad Pro, even if it's coming next month, because I think this new one is gonna be great for a few different reasons. Last month, Mark Gurman claimed that the chip going into the iPad Pro, which we think is gonna be the A14X, is gonna have performance on par with the M1 chip in the latest Macs. This is just insane because, as you know, the M1 Macs are incredibly powerful compared to a lot of other computers out there. So having that power built into an iPad Pro is incredible. But really, what Mark is trying to say is that the A14X chip will likely have the same 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU setup as the M1 chip, but without all of the extra components that's meant for Mac-related stuff. This is a really big deal because last year's iPad Pro update didn't really come with a major CPU improvement. The A12Z chip was literally identical to the A12X from 2018, apart from adding one extra graphics core. So the A14X iPad Pro is gonna be game-changing, and I honestly don't think any other tablet ever will get anywhere near the iPad Pro's performance. Now, as far as the design, the leaked CAD files show that it's gonna look basically the same with very minor changes, if any at all. Now, I know people are expecting a bit more from Apple, but I personally think that the huge boost in performance combined with much faster LTE speeds thanks to the new 5G modems and of course 5G, and the new mini LED display are all gonna be enough of a reason for many people to upgrade. But don't worry, I think Apple has something else up their sleeve that's gonna make the iPad Pro a whole lot more useful. Yes, I think that Apple's gonna be coming out with a new Magic Keyboard case for the iPad Pro and the iPad Air 4, and it's actually gonna be pretty great. Way back in August of last year, Komiya on Twitter claimed that a new Magic Keyboard is planned for March 2021. And when asked about the price, he said it'll be the same $299 as it currently is. And if you're wondering how it could be different from the original, Apple actually filed for a patent almost a full year ago with some pretty significant changes. First off, there's a slot in the hinge which holds the Apple Pencil 2, which is basically a dream come true for an iPad Pro case. And to make it even better, the patent says that the slot also wirelessly charges the Apple Pencil at the same time, making it the perfect solution. Since right now, with the current Magic Keyboard, the Pencil is basically exposed all the time. Now getting into the next patent image, it shows a completely new hinge system, essentially allowing you to raise the iPad Pro much higher if you'd like to, or even use it in a new clipboard mode, which will finally solve the problem people had with the other Magic Keyboard, where you couldn't lay the iPad Pro down to write and draw. So if Apple is truly releasing a new Magic Keyboard along the new iPad Pro this month, then that would really help it become a more useful device. But it doesn't stop there, because I think Apple has even more tricks up their sleeve meant for the iPad Pro, so let's get right into those. If you think about it, the current iPad Pro is already extremely powerful, being faster than any other tablet out there. So if the A14X chip in the new iPad Pro coming this month is gonna be as powerful as Mark Gurman says it'll be, how in the world are we gonna take advantage of that power? Well, almost a full year ago, John Prosser tweeted that he is 100% confident that Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and Xcode are coming to the iPad Pro. Those are all professional Mac applications that we actually tested and benchmarked using the M1 Max, and the performance was killer. So it's looking like you'll be able to buy an iPad Pro and do this type of professional work without ever needing a Mac. Now, some of you might say that it doesn't make sense for Apple to do this because less people are going to be buying the more expensive MacBooks. But on the other hand, support for these Mac apps is going to really help push sales of the Magic Keyboard case, which is priced at $300, since it's going to help you make the most out of those apps. And as far as the release timeline for those Mac apps, they could either release them alongside the new iPad Pro, or they could wait until the WWDC conference in June, since that mostly focuses on software. So basically, if you put all of those puzzle pieces together, it totally makes sense for Apple to release a new iPad Pro sometime next month at their April event, which is a first timer, alongside an updated Magic Keyboard case. Now, if you totally disagree with me, go ahead and comment your thoughts down in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed it, click that circle above to subscribe for more videos like this one. Definitely check out one of those two right there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.